My name is Randy Badio. I currently live in Denver, Colorado. Uh, I what I'm going to say is something that I talked to the FBI about, and for which really it's very shocking. A few months ago, I underwent surgery, supposedly to place a device to space the spinal cord that I was told was essentially being squashed. It turned out that that was a ploy by Dr. Berger and Cooley at the Spine Center at UC Health Aurora. They actually had placed a much bigger device called a Medtronic neurostimulator implant. The wire of the device were originally placed, one was placed sidewise from the, it was made in 2015 at the Cancer Center in New Brunswick in New Jersey. And at the time, I was having some issues with essentially the judicial system there. And when the device was implanted, it was supposedly to stop me from, basically to scrub the brain, to stop me from having a lot of pain. And this is a device you can see here. You can see the name of the doctor, and this is a card that was given to me. The charger for the device was malfunctioned a number of times. The device is implanted in my buttocks. When I had the surgery on May the 24th, I noticed that the device was much bigger on my right buttocks, and that I was having a lot of pain to eat, to breathe. My heart was constantly racing. The medical record also showed that this portion, some stuff was put into my jaw in New Jersey, and that they essentially have leaked down and calcified this area. These are the medical record. I had to go to the emergency room in Denver hospital on the 21st of August. And these are the medical record and the MRI that I got yesterday. They show that there is the wire were misplaced. About 1 month ago, I called a contact at Senator Menendez's office that I've known for a number of years, and I related to her that I was feeling like I was being gassed in a hotel room where I was put in Denver, and I knew that my medication were tainted, and I took picture of the room. She essentially told me to leave the room. I packed the charger for the Medtronic device, neurostimulator, along with other cable, and I left it in my room. I just went downstairs to get the room number, and there was a lot of strange things at the time going on, but very mysteriously they assigned me a room here, and between the time where I went down there and came back, the device was stolen. Last Sunday, we have been getting evidence of a lot of criminal activities from some rogue element in the federal government. So last Sunday, as I was sitting here for the third time, magically in this hotel, somebody was able, just came in around 8 p.m., opened the door, and as I yelled, he walked away. When I came back, I went outside and looked to see who was. Magically, the hotel is kind of curved, so the person came from behind that curve and walked straight back into the room. And I asked him what he wanted. He had his baseball cap, and he was looking down at his cell phone like this. So clearly he was avoiding to be seen, his face to be seen. So what has happened at the time is I had that reflex to shut the door on him. And as I shut the door on him, he started to scream, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I thought it was my room." I said at the time in a recording, it's very strange. It just happened so that day I received a lot of evidence and I was posting it on Twitter. I told her it's not the first incident where somebody has opened the room, the hotel door room, and it's not the first instance where I know that I'm not safe in this hotel and in this room, and that, there's been a lot of incidents. The Medtronic device, the wire, are placed in a way where they're going straight to the heart, to the lung. They have stopped me from eating. And so usually in situations like that, the federal government, through its Medicare and Medicaid program for people with disability, allow you to have a waiver, and they pay for certain disability-related issue as a result of being incapacitated. When I went yesterday and got the CD-ROM and the evidence here, you can see that the suspicion of the doctor, like right here and in other pages, are very clear. And in fact, I have a surgery, I have a number of surgery to remove the device, to also take away the wire. What is remarkable about all of this is I sent a fax to the doctor about a week and a half ago, and in the letter, as you can see, this is a fax. This is a confirmation of the fax. It was sent out of the hotel, and they told me that the case manager for the Colorado Health Network, that you actually, had they done their job, we will not have been evicted on May the 29th. And that's another story I will discuss soon, where essentially told me that they wouldn't want to process it and until I show the medical record, the evidence. So when I send this, there's always been some connection between the Colorado Health Network HUD and the mistreatment and the device that had been put in at the Colorado hospital. So when I went to the doctor yesterday and I've gotten the medical record, there is one thing. You can see the emergency room visit here, and I have posted some things, in fact, on Twitter from the emergency room showing that I was hurting. They use infrared frequency and microwave. The New York Times has recently published an article about this being used as a weapon in the case of people working at the U.S. Embassy. Those things are well known. When they were made, the fax was sent, it was very clear that you can see the letter to the doctor. I quoted the law, I quoted the title, and I explained all of the things that are needed for the medical waiver. Those pages were stolen from the doctors, from the fax, and he was only given the form. The Colorado Health Network manager, Josh Derrick, with whom I had had some issues before, I made it very clear that he will not seek the medical waiver. The reason why they will not seek the medical waiver is because of the liability here. It will be like taking responsibility, because the evidence points to people from within the Colorado Medicaid that have actually facilitated a coma that David Island of the Rocky Mountain pain specialist put me in. In fact, I fell into a coma in his operating table in February. Those things happened immediately after I was having some filings and some issues exposing judicial corruption with the U.S. District Court and with the Third Circuit. So when the eviction came, in fact, immediately started the process. We were paying the rent as usual. We were sending the check from the bank, actually, logging in line. And they were, Del Norte, the Colorado, they were claiming they did not receive the notes. After a lot of trials and error, the Colorado Civil Rights Division finally stepped up and opened an investigation. The thing that I want to talk about today is the degree of hate and torture using the device. As I noted before, the room, usually you can feel there is fuel and gas that are coming in, so it's not safe. About apart from the guy coming, the device and the charger had been stolen. What has happened a number of days ago is I sensed that there was something wrong with the waiver, so I had to go to the doctor's office. And that's when we discovered that this form here, this letter, has vanished. And, the nurse mentioned that, they have a case manager working on it. But the case manager, anything from the Colorado Health Network, they are the one that did the eviction. They are the one that have been harming us. They are, in fact, the one that most likely are associated with HUD and have sent, the person to open the hotel door. And they probably very likely are into the theft of the charger. But we're now in the unusual situation where the room is not safe. There are, as we demonstrated and show the evidence, from this the gas are coming out. And we have been subject to a number of thefts. So we have wanted to follow the law and essentially get the medical waiver going and get some compensation for the coma, the issue that we had. Because after all, they were paid for and approved by the state of Colorado, through its Medicaid program. And so today there was a very unusual situation where we were technically approved for a move out. The apartment that was assigned to us, for which we were supposed to put a deposit and move in, we were told that that apartment actually will not be available until September. And now we're told that they need a couple of days to fix some fixture in the ceiling, that there was a leak. What I find that is usually these are indication that we're putting something, camera, something, as we have also found in the place where we were magically evicted from and where I was actually in a lot of pain. So you can see that there is a delay. The lease was sent to us. We had the stuff from the moving company that led to an additional fiasco. But I think I need to talk to the American people directly. If you look at the legal filing that I've done, if you look at the struggle, the strength that I had to garner, the amount of torture to expose sham parole term, to expose sham, to expose vicious beating in a hospital emergency room in 2014, to expose U.S. probation and the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice. All those people have contacted and told that crime were being committed. To expose judicial corruption, the amount of torture and suffering has been so extensive that it has extended to the placement of the Medtronic device and to the wire right by my heart. And still, the going to the emergency room, the need for probably more than one surgery. So we are at the point now where it's either do it or break, or get killed. And I tried just about everything short of directly speaking to the American people to look into this matter and to reaffirm that this is not us.